Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Om Gyantimirandhasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse number 16. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drishtah antah tu anayoh tattvadarshibhi. Of the temporary, such as winter or summer, there is no permanent existence, and of the eternal, such as the soul, there is no destruction. Those who know the truth have reached this conclusion by deliberating on what is temporary and what is eternal. So further explaining that why one should not be disturbed by dualities such as happiness and distress, winter or summer, Krishna is telling Arjun that these are temporary. Why? Because they are asat. Asat means something that does not have existence. Asat comes from the word sat. Sat means that which exists. The reality that we see around us can be divided into two. One that is sat, means which exists, and asat, that does not really exist. However, our understanding of what exists and what does not exist is incorrect. Based on our material education, we think that the body is what exists, and therefore we get carried away with things that are related to the body, such as lamentation, delusion, which arise from false identification with this body. We accept this material body to be everything, our true identity. However, as Sri Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ji also explains in his purport, that the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science also, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But as our body goes through this transformation, we as the person do not change. That feeling of I does not change. So that feeling of I is not coming from this material body. It is coming from something else, that which is permanent. And Krishna says here that that is your true identity, the spirit soul. It is simply out of ignorance that we think that material body is our true identity. As we all know that this body grows, deteriorates, and one day dies. But that does not mean that our existence ceases to be. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in his purport that the bodily identification, lamentation, and delusion do not exist in regard to the imperishable soul. So how can Bhishma and others be annihilated? Knowing that, why should you grieve for them? So if we understand this fundamental truth, this basic instruction that Shri Krishna is telling Arjun, that you are not this body, but you are spirit soul. You are not asat, means you are not temporary, but sat, permanent. So therefore, you should strive for your permanent existence and for those things that will help you achieve your permanent existence, and not be carried away by the temporary things. See, even in this world, we always want something permanent, right? When you go for looking for a job, are you all looking for a temporary job, or are you looking for a permanent job? If someone offers you a job which he says right at the beginning that we can take away from you anytime, and on the other hand another company offers you a job and says you can stay and do this work as long as you want, we will never fire you. So which job will you prefer? The one that is temporary, that has so much instability in it that you can be kicked out of it any day, or will you opt for the job which is permanent? I think anyone who's intelligent will certainly opt for the job that is permanent. Well, in addition to this, if the offer says, well, in the temporary job, you're going to have a lot of struggles, but in the permanent job, you will actually have a very peaceful time and you can just do your work and make the money. Now, when you have this condition, then certainly no one would opt for the temporary job. So we are all endeavoring for something permanent. When someone joins as a lecturer or an assistant professor at the university, he's striving to get tenure track. He's striving to become a permanent teacher or a professor, because once he gets that permanent position, then he doesn't have to worry about losing his job, his livelihood. So when in this life we are striving for situations that are permanent, then why are we not thinking about this simple fact that this body itself is not permanent? So all these situations that we are trying to or striving for to have permanence in our life are actually temporary, because these are all related to this body, and the body itself is temporary. So Krishna is telling Arjun that it is because of ignorance of what is the permanent situation, what permanent life you can attain, because you are oblivious of the Sat or your permanent existence, you are getting disturbed because of this temporary situation. But those who are knowledgeable, he says, those who are tattva darshi, those who have actually realized the supreme absolute truth, they have reached this conclusion by very carefully deliberating on what is temporary and what is eternal. Our rishis, our acharyas are the greatest scientists, because they are giving the truth which is not simply for this material body to how to live this life with lot of material benefits, but how to attain our permanent spiritual existence. See, we all see, but we do not actually see. We hear, but we do not actually hear. What does that mean? We only see things superficially. We do not see what is beyond what we are seeing. We hear things very superficially, and we also think very superficially, because our senses suffer from illusion. We are not able to see or hear things the way they are. For example, in the night time, when you are walking on the road, you may mistake a rope to be a snake and get very disturbed or frightened. But if one is sober and careful, one will see that actually that is not a snake but a rope. Now, there is an important point to understand here. Some will say, by using this example, that just like we are illusioned by seeing the snake, or we feel that this rope is the snake, but actually it is not the snake, it is rope. This is all false. Similarly, this world does not actually exist. This is the conception of those who are impersonalists. But here, our acharyas are explaining that it is true that this world is temporary, but it is not false. Just like when you have this illusion of the rope being the snake, that illusion is wrong. That a misconception is because of ignorance, but that does not mean that the rope does not exist. Rope does have its existence, but because of misconception, you are taking it, or because of ignorance, you are conceiving it as a snake. Similarly, this world does exist. Why? Because it is also a manifestation of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. So it's not that this world is false. It actually does exist. However, it is temporary. So the problem is that we are becoming attached and we are becoming so much absorbed and engaged in this worldly affairs which actually are temporary, because the existence of our body in this world is temporary. But our body does exist. You and me cannot negate that our body does not exist, right? We cannot negate that the world around us does not exist. It is not like the illusion that what we see in our sleep, the dreams that we see. So some compare this world to our dreaming state and saying just like the dreams are false, this world is also false. But our acharyas explain that you dream, whatever you dream, it may appear to be unrealistic, but at the same time you never dream of something that does not exist. So similarly, this world does exist. However, our attachment to the world and the worldly things is incorrect. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the soul or Jivatma does not have a relationship with either the subtle or the gross body, or with the characteristics of the body such as lamentation and delusion. This is because these relationships are imagined only due to ignorance. So our goal is to overcome this ignorance by taking shelter of those who are knowledgeable. Later on in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will say, Tatvidhi pranipaten pariprashnen sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninah tattvadarshinaha. The word tattvadarshi that he is using in this verse, he will use again in the 34th verse of chapter 4, Tatvidhi pranipaten, where he states that just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. A self-realized soul can differentiate between what is Sat and what is Asat, what is temporary and what is permanent. A real guru will only give knowledge related to Sat, what is permanent. Tamso ma sat gamay. He will take us away from ignorance towards the effulgence of spiritual knowledge. But those who themselves are engrossed in this impermanent, temporary material world, how would they be able to teach us anything about what is beyond this temporary world, the supreme absolute truth? If you have fallen in a well, then for you to come out of the well, you have to take help from someone who is outside, who will throw a rope to you, and holding that rope, you can come out. If you take help from someone who himself is drowning in the well, then you will not be saved. That's the reason here he specifically uses the word Tattvadarshibhi, that those who know the truth. So our goal should also be to sincerely pray and look for such a realized personality who by his realized knowledge can give the seed of this knowledge in our heart. So now starting from this verse for several next verses, Lord Krishna is going to explain this specific point to Arjun in great detail, because it's only through repetition, it's only by hearing something over and over again and meditating upon it that we can also understand it. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Have a very blessed day.